It's Thursday, May 21st. In the headlines, government advancing digital transformation to improve ease of doing business. 23 students discharged from hospital following Garvey Maceo High School bus crash. In business news, Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association to discuss resiliency in upcoming conference. Regionally, U.S. indictment of President Raul Castro sparks tensions in Cuba, and Trinidad and Tobago's Met Service predicts fewer hurricanes this year. In sports, Portmore United advanced to Jamaica Premier League's final. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The government is moving ahead with plans to make doing business in Jamaica faster and more efficient through a series of digital transformation initiatives. Speaking during her contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament on Wednesday, Minister with responsibility for efficiency, innovation and digital transformation, Audrey Marks, announced that work is underway on a digital document wallet. The system will allow Jamaicans to securely store and share government-issued documents electronically.
In building on the multi-agency success of the electronic motor vehicle certificates, the government will now allow citizens to securely store and share government-issued documents electronically, including birth certificates, national ID card, and any other civic document they want to store in the wallet. More convenience, more efficiency.
She also highlighted the Gov Notify initiative, which will centralize government alerts through email, text messages, and WhatsApp notifications.
Gov Notify will centralize government notifications and updates through email, SMS, and WhatsApp. People of Jamaica will be able to receive reminders for expiring passports, driver's license, and other important updates, because we all need reminders sometimes.
The minister says the initiatives form part of a broader push to modernize government services and reduce bureaucracy. She noted that the recently implemented Jamaica Data Exchange platform will allow authorized government systems to securely exchange information electronically, reducing the need for Jamaicans to repeatedly submit documents and forms when accessing services.
The JDXP represents a major shift from turf to joined-up government, from data silos to data sharing, from fragmented systems to integrated, interoperable government systems, from slow manual processes to real-time seamless services. The JDXP allows authorized government systems to exchange information electronically and in a standardized way.
Minister with responsibility for efficiency, innovation and digital transformation, Audrey Marks, says more than 1 million transactions were processed through the government's online payment platform, Paygate, during the last financial year. The disclosure was made during her contribution to the 2026-2027 sectoral debate in Parliament on Wednesday. Paygate, which facilitates online payments in Jamaican and U.S. currency using Visa and MasterCard, was upgraded by the Information and Communications Technology Authority over the past year.
Paygate facilitates online payments in both Jamaican and United States dollars using Visa and MasterCard, and integrates with the major local commercial banks for payment processing. Last week, I was at a meeting in Negril, and the operators there told me that they are still having problems because many of them don't have a credit card, they have debit cards. And so I'm pleased to update that that Paygate also will take Visa debit cards.
She noted that Jamaica Customs Agency is also using the platform to process electronic payments for custom duties, permits, and licenses, reducing processing time and improving the ease of doing business. Other agencies now using Paygate include the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission, Kingston Freeport Terminal, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, and the Port Authority of Jamaica. The Ministry of Education says it's closely monitoring the condition of students injured in Wednesday morning's crash involving a bus carrying students from Garvey Maceo High School in Clarendon. 39 students were affected when the coaster bus reportedly slammed into a concrete median near the Mapen entrance to the Williams Field Toll Road shortly after 8 o'clock in the morning. At least 41 people were injured in the crash. The ministry says an educational social worker was dispatched to the hospital to provide support and guidance to students and their families, while regional officials continue to work with the school to assist those impacted. By early Thursday, 23 students had been discharged from hospital, while 3 remained admitted for further care and observation. Others were reportedly treated and monitored. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says the ministry remains engaged with school administrators and health officials. While noting his concern for the students, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz defended the rural school bus program, saying the buses are designed to provide greater protection for students traveling across rural Jamaica. Minister Vaz said in a post on social media that the government remains committed to expanding the program following the latest incident, which comes days after another crash involving a rural school bus and an illegal taxi in Portland. UNICEF Jamaica says it remains committed to supporting long-term improvements in Jamaica's early childhood sector, particularly as communities continue to recover from climate-related disasters. Deputy Representative of UNICEF Jamaica, Mohamed Mohiuddin, gave the commitment during the opening ceremony of the Early Childhood Commission's 7th Annual Professional Development Institute in Montego Bay on Monday. The 4-day conference is being held under the theme, Making Rights Real, Reclaiming General Commitment 7. More in this report from Danita Rodney.
Speaking at the conference, Deputy Representative of UNICEF Jamaica, Mohamed Mohiuddin, said the forum comes at a critical time for the sector and highlights the importance of protecting children's rights, especially during times of crisis.
UNICEF is proud to support the ECC's Professional Development Institute convent at a critical moment of the sector. Under the theme, Making Rights Real, Reclaiming General Comment 7, this forum rightly emphasizes the practical action, ensuring that children's rights are not only recognized, but truly lived, especially in times of crisis.
He says Hurricane Melissa disrupted homes, schools, and children's stability, prompting UNICEF to partner with stakeholders to provide psychosocial support, temporary learning spaces, and continued learning for affected children.
It is aftermath of that, restoring early childhood services became urgent, not only to resume learning, but to protect children's well-being and support their recovery.
The Deputy Representative adds UNICEF's support also extends beyond disaster response, with ongoing efforts aimed at strengthening Jamaica's early childhood systems and their services.
UNICEF remains committed to strengthening early childhood systems, advancing screening and referral services, supporting policy development, and advocating for sustained investment in childhood development. These actions are essential to building systems that are inclusive, resilient, and responsive to the most vulnerable.
With another hurricane season approaching, Mohiuddin stressed that investing in young children must remain a priority.
As climate shocks grow more frequent. We are already entering to the next season of hurricane. One message is clear. I repeat, one message is very, very clear. Resilience begins at early childhood. Protecting young children is not only a humanitarian obligation, it is a strategic investment in Jamaica's future.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. On May 20, the Jamaica Manufacturer Exporters Association has hosted their third staging of its flagship Manufacturing 360 conference at the AC Hotel by Marriott Kingston, gathering manufacturers, exporters, financiers, and policymakers under the theme Robust Recovery and Resilient Growth. The event, held annually under the overarching banner Shaping the Future of Manufacturing from All Angles, has grown steadily since its 2024 debut, now drawing more than 200 attendees, and it was oversubscribed. But this year carries a weight the previous editions did not. When Melissa made landfall on Wednesday, October 28, 2025, the most destructive storm in Jamaica's recorded history inflicted an estimated 10 billion Jamaican in losses on the manufacturing sector alone. Nearly 70% of JMEA's membership, largely made up of micro, small, and medium enterprises, are still operating below capacity or have ceased operations entirely. And I quote, "The question is no longer whether the sector will recover, but what it will recover into," said Kamisha Blake, Executive Director of the JMEA. Dedicated sessions will tackle supply chain redesign, smart logistics, insurance, and risk financing gaps in a climate volatile economy, and practical pathways to capital. Treasure Bay Estates, a luxury residential development, announced that more than 80% of its available villa lots have now been sold. Verna Henry, Director of Treasure Bay Estates, said the increasing demand highlights a broader shift in how buyers view luxury living in the Caribbean. And I quote, "Treasure Beach offers a lifestyle that is becoming increasingly rare across the region. People are looking for designs that feel authentic, peaceful, and connected to nature while still offering quality development and modern comforts. The balance is what continues to attract interest in the South Coast," she stated. The gated community is in Great Bay Treasure Beach. This planned development features 132 residential lots at an average price of US $90,000, each approximately a quarter acre in size, with ocean and mountain views. Each lot is sold with an approved architectural plan from 4 attractive modern designs to suit your lifestyle. Purchasers are required to complete construction within 5 years of purchase. Community features include a clubhouse with pool, gym, an on-site management office, hard courts for tennis, pickleball, and other recreational activities. For the trading period of May 20, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Kentire Holdings Jamaica Limited with 14,364,970 units, representing 33.10% of market sales activity. Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 7,094,544 units, representing 16.35% of market sales activities. Omni Industries Limited with 4,107,012 units, representing 9.46% of market sales activity. Investor activity remained concentrated in transportation and distribution plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for May 20, 2026. Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity, with the US selling at $156.97 and buying at $158.39. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by 38-cent transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $115.20 and was bought for $114.82. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of $4.78 in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $212.63 and was bought for $207.85. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing and currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. For our credit report tip of the day, your credit score is either funding your future or slowing it down. Most people think credit is about debt. It's not. Credit is about power, access, leverage, and speed. Your credit score and credit report influence how quickly you can move through life, how expensive opportunities become, and how much freedom you actually have to build the life you envision. The reality is simple. A weak credit profile makes life more expensive. A strong credit profile makes growth easier. And that growth touches everything: your health, your career, your family, your retirement, your lifestyle experiences. Credit is not just a financial administration, it's a life strategy. Every major life decision has a financing component attached to it. Where you live, what business you launch, how you recover from emergencies, how quickly you pivot careers, and how comfortably you retire. Your credit profile decides whether doors open or close, whether you qualify or get denied, whether you pay premium pricing or preferred pricing, whether opportunities arrive with ease or pressure. People often focus only on income. Your credit score is more than a number, it's an engine. And when managed wisely, it can help you power the life you want to build. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital, markets, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.
In regional news, Cuba is condemning the United States indictment of former President Raul Castro, calling it a political move aimed at escalating tensions between the two countries. While the indictment has stirred uncertainty in Havana, many Cubans say their main concern remains ongoing fuel shortages, power outages, and the worsening economic crisis.
It's been nothing short of a historic day in U.S.-Cuba relations, which saw former President, 94-year-old Raul Castro, indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice on charges of conspiracy to kill U.S. citizens in relation to an incident that took place 30 years ago. And here in Havana, the reaction from the government has been broadly what was expected. The President, Miguel Díaz-Canel, posted on X saying the indictment is simply the U.S. government trying to lay the groundwork for military aggression against Cuba, something he warned would be very ill-advised. But for ordinary Cubans, the impact of this indictment, at least for now, feels far less urgent than the effects that the U.S. oil blockade is having in their lives. The measure has largely prevented crude from reaching this island for the better part of this year, and people are experiencing a dire existence, often lacking electricity, water supply, and cooking gas. Communications are also a problem on this island right now. And in fact, we've had several people come up to us and ask us what's happening in relation to this indictment and what we think is going to happen. So there is a palpable sense of uncertainty here in Havana. So while there are Cubans on this island that will see this indictment as some sort of tangible action, moving them closer to regime change, I think for the majority of people, they realize that this is a political move. And right now, frankly, the concern for most is daily survival. Julia Galliano, Al Jazeera, Havana.
As Trinidad and Tobago prepares for the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season, climate officials are warning citizens not to become complacent despite forecasts for below normal storm activity. Climate officials say even one tropical storm could cause major devastation, while growing climate change impacts are already being felt through extreme heat, bushfires, and flooding. More in this report.
Acting Chief Climatologist at the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service, Kedar Kisun, said Trinidad and Tobago is heading into a drier than usual 2026 wet season with below normal hurricane activity. He's warning, however, to not let the below normal forecast create complacency.
Any tropical storms forming in the area of interest has the potential to threaten Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. This season only needs one tropical storm or hurricane to cause devastation in Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, or any other island for it to be an active season.
Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Public Utilities, Shavana Sam, said the country is already experiencing the effects of climate change through increased bushfires, extreme heat, and threats to ecosystems and communities.
Across the globe, we are witnessing the increasing frequency and intensity of extreme weather conditions, prolonged heat events, droughts, flooding, and other climate-related challenges that continue to affect food security, water resources, energy systems, and public health. And right here in Trinidad and Tobago, we are seeing these impacts become more visible within our very own communities.
Ms. Sam stressed the importance of climate services, noting that it directly impacts everyday citizens.
This information can guide the farmer in Kumoto trying to determine the best planting period, and I speak here as Member of Parliament for Kumoto Mansanala. It can support the fisherman in Icacus preparing to go out to sea safely. It can help the single mother caring for an asthmatic child during periods of extreme heat or poor heat quality or poor air quality. These readings matter to all of us.
The 20th National Climate Outlook Forum was held on Wednesday under the theme Heat and Public Health, Reducing Risk Through Climate Services. Daniel John, TTT News.
St. Lucia is leading the regional charge with its draft National Migration Policy, banking on a whole-of-society approach for the formation of a comprehensive framework that will help address emerging challenges, chief amongst them, demographic decline.
As migration trends reshape small island states, St. Lucia has taken a major step toward preparing for the future. On Monday, May 18th, a media briefing and panel discussion were held to officially unveil the draft National Migration Policy. Highlighting the urgency of the initiative, Patrice Quesada, coordinator for the International Organization for Migration, IOM, Caribbean Office, pointed to several emerging social and economic challenges that could drive increased migration. He also raised concerns over demographic decline and its potential impact on St. Lucia's long-term national development.
In the case of St. Lucia, what is very interesting is that right now, as you are probably very well aware, in terms of demographic, we are facing more or less slightly above 0% population growth, which means that it's currently reaching a plateau. But the reality is that fertility rates are already below 1.4. The replacement rate to ensure that there is a continuous growth of population is 2.1. So while the figure of growth is plateauing, the understanding is that the decline in terms of demographic will start, because demographic decline means aging population. It means investing in an industry of care. It also means that you would have less worker and more retirees, pensioners. From a fiscal perspective, it poses a lot of challenges. And this is not just for the Caribbean, this is really across the Caribbean space. And that's also one important element that I'd like to flag while having this opportunity today, is how much this conversation that you have here can also inspire the rest of the Caribbean, and in particular CARICOM member states, but also member states of the OECS in the Eastern Caribbean. I'm saying that because you all face similar challenges, especially when it comes to demographic decline or the impact of climate change. And a lot of solutions cannot just be national solutions. They will have to be regional solutions by pulling resources together, by pulling ideas and solutions together.
Quesada underscored the need for an all-of-society approach to shaping and implementing the draft policy, while also calling for greater regional cooperation to address similar migration challenges affecting islands across the Caribbean. He noted that the IOM has been supporting the CARICOM Secretariat since 2022 in developing the CARICOM Regional Migration Policy Framework.
Priorities for all the member states of the Caribbean could be put together into a policy that could help the regional institution and that could help the national institution to cope with the challenges to come, but also to seize any opportunities around migration, and there are many. Remittances is one of them. Diaspora engagement and return is another one. Labor migration to fill gaps in sectors that are under tension is another one. There are plenty of solutions, but also challenges that needs to be looked at from a social protection perspective and others, security perspective, as we are mentioning.
In sports, we kick things off with football. Portmore United FC are through to the final of the Jamaica Premier League after defeating Mount Pleasant Football Academy 4-2 in extra time on Wednesday's semi-final second leg. Portmore overturned a 1-0 first leg deficit to secure a 4-3 aggregate victory and book their first appearance in the JPL final in 7 years. With the victory, Portmore United have also secured qualification for the 2026 CONCACAF Caribbean Cup, which begins in August. In other news, we switch to cricket. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force are the 2026 West Indies Championship champions. The Red Force dismantled defending champions Guyana Harpy Eagles by 141 runs at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium on Wednesday, halting Guyana's bid for a fourth straight title and what would have been their 9th crown in 11 seasons.
Trinidad and Tobago Red Force dismantled defending champions Guyana Harpy Eagles by 141 runs at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium on Wednesday, halting Guyana's bid for a fourth straight title and what would have been their 9th crown in 11 seasons. Chasing 281 on the final day, Guyana's batting crumbled for 139 in 39 overs. Terence Hines took 3 for 30, Jaden Seals 3 for 39, with Joshua James and Anderson Phillip cleaning up the tail. Only Kevlon Anderson's 41 offered any resistance. The foundation was built across 3 days of seesaw cricket. A 13-run first innings lead by the Red Force set the platform, and Evan Lewis delivered the knockout blow, a commanding 122 runs, anchoring Trinidad and Tobago's second innings of 267. And setting a target Guyana could never realistically chase. When the final wicket fell on Wednesday afternoon, 2 decades of longing and disappointment for the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force ended.
And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.